Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge, and welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. I'm back in the sanctuary. I've got a Release Fitness shirt on today, so shout out to Aurelia and everything she's doing to build a inclusive MMA-style kickboxing kind of badass gym that is meant for everybody and anybody who wants to get involved. I also, I've been asking the guests over the last few days who they'd like to give a shout out to. And my guest today kind of surprised me a little bit because it was someone who was just here not 15 minutes ago. So our good friend, Mr. Ciso, who is actually going to be the very last show that we do on September 11th. So shout out to Ciso from Doug and I. And let's bring my guest on because I am excited to talk about Runabout Coffee and Doug. How you doing, man?
Doing great. How are you?
I am good. So most coffee roasters, they get up at like, 2 a.m. or something and start working. Is that what you've been doing all day?
No. I'm not with coffee. It kind of makes you not afraid of early mornings. So I'm not afraid of early morning because I'll just make a giant Chemex of coffee, which is what I did today. But because we're an events-based coffee shop, so most days I just kind of hang out and then only work the days we have events. So it's the dream.
So you've been hanging out today?
Yeah, we've got 3 kids. We just added a third one. So we're pretty much in just survival mode, trying to get stuff done when the kids allow it, which isn't often. So I did do a lot of work today, kind of in between diapers and feedings and all the fun stuff. So,
well, my second kid just moved to Los Angeles, so I'm driving to LA on Saturday to move all their stuff out there. And then my youngest kid, and I had 3 as well, is buying a house and moving out sometime while we're gone, probably. Yeah. So I went from all these kids to an empty nester in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, so that's what they say. It goes so fast. The days are long and the years are short or something.
Yeah.
Some wise person told me that.
That sounds like a very wise person phrase.
Yeah.
It seems like once I had kids, life just started going super fast.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you a little bit. Where were you born and raised? Where did you go to school and all that stuff?
Yeah. I grew up in Detroit area originally, in Berkeley and Farmington Hills, and then when I was in 7th grade, my family moved to Holt. So I kind of finished up in the Lansing area, and was there. Graduated high school in 2006, and then really for the next 10 years, I just kind of ran about. I was just kind of wandering for a good probably 10 years. I was just kind of wandering. So I played the hokey pokey with school. I'm a 3-time college dropout, and did some traveling too, which looking back was probably naive in a lot of ways, but I probably learned from it. And
the traveling was naive?
Yeah. I mean, I think I was just young, and I was just thinking I could conquer the world or something. I don't even know.
I often advocate that traveling's more important than college in a lot of cases.
Yeah. I think that when I graduated, I feel like especially it was everyone just needed to go straight to college. And for me, I would have really benefited from the idea of a gap year or, just taking year off and being encouraged to take a year off. And then I feel like I might have been able to be more equipped to go to school. But at the time, that just felt very foreign. And so, I went to school, wasted time and money, and then ended up, I'm trying to think of a better word than dropping out, but I dropped out and did some traveling. And I learned a lot. I went to West Africa when I was like 19, maybe. And it wasn't really through an organization. I just kind of met a guy. So I was just, I had a lot of wanderlust, I guess.
Yeah.
But then once I got there, I was just this kind of naive and shy kid. But, I mean, fast forward, I feel like in a lot of ways what I'm doing now with Runabout Coffee is kind of a culmination of all these wanderings that I had over the course of 10 years. Of like going in and out of school. I did music stuff. I did just all the most random things. And then I just kind of like in Price is Right, I kind of plinkoed down into where I'm at now, which is a spot that I feel really good about. But yeah, did a lot of wandering.
I'm super jealous that you went to West Africa and just hung out there, and
Yeah,
you didn't just stay in your Marriott hotel room watching CNN all day, right?
No, definitely not. We actually went. It's like this children's medical organization, which maybe just goes to show how nice of a trip it was. But me and two other guys. One guy was from West Africa and like ran the organization. And we basically village hopped and found kids with medical needs. And then the organization would fund their trip to the United States for like proper medical care and then take them back home. So we were kind of that first, just like taking pictures of kids with medical needs. And yeah, like it was good work. It was a good organization. And I think maybe the naive part about it was I was going thinking that I would be influential, and as those things go is very opposite, where I was more influenced by it than anything else, which is good. But yeah, there were good memories, like food poisoning and West African village porta potty and kids watching me through the cracks in the walls of the porta potty. It was good memories.
Awesome. Sounds like way better courses than I was taking.
Yeah.
So do you think that influenced how you approach coffee today?
It's a good question. Doesn't feel like it directly did, but I do think that I do think that there is. So one of our we have core values at Runabout Coffee that I love. They keep me focused, but our belief is we believe coffee is made special by commitment to each other, excellence, and experimentation. And I love those core values because obviously first, like each other, we're here, we want to treat people well, we want to meet people where they're at and serve people where they're at. And then excellence, we try really hard to make our best cup of coffee. But that experimentation value is my favorite one, because that's what allows me to find joy and freedom in the art of coffee, because coffee is it's a natural product. And so you have to yield to the fact that it's going to do its own thing, and that coffee can be a very minute science that can really drive you crazy. And there are days where I go crazy because I'm so focused on the details. But I love that experimentation because that gives you the freedom to not have it figured out and to, say I've been in coffee for 12 years and still I'm learning stuff every day. I'm still trying to figure things out, dialing it in. So to answer your question, I feel like that core value is something that I hold very dearly personally, partly because, I spent so many years wandering, like doing different things, kind of, I mean, my entire 20s were just kind of experimenting and trying things, like maybe I'll go to Africa and do this medical thing and I'll learn from it and I'll grow. And I think all throughout my 20s, I was trying to arrive at like my destination. And then it's only now that I look back that it's like, no, it's about the art and the joy of experimentation and of realizing that it's not about the product, it's about the process, kind of thing. So maybe indirectly, my trip to Africa, I think, definitely played a part in how I approach coffee and life.
One of our big tenets is succeed or learn, right? There's no failure. There's no problems. I mean, there is, but not in the journey that you're on. And I love that experimentation as a value. Actually, we do ourselves, each other, and our environment as the three core ones, and then we got 1,000 things underneath each. I think I'd like to add experimentation, actually, because I think that's awesome. Because when you besides the coffee and the roasting and all the different things that are the process of getting the cherry to the consumer. You've got a lot of like technical things that you have to do. Do you also look at the rest of your business like an experiment? Like, I'll try this pop up here and I'll try this here and I'll see what works.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think in September, we'll be going to our 4th year, which sounds kind of crazy, but especially with COVID, it's a constant experimentation. It's a constant trying to figure things out and improve ourselves and grow it in a way that will be sustainable and continue to kind of carry out our goal of serving coffee everywhere. But so yeah, I lost my train of thought, but
that's all right. I'll keep us going for sure. I want to stick on values for a second, because another one of our premises is that we have values. We don't have rules. We think rules are restrictive. They're barriers. They turn people off. But values people can get behind. Oh, I understand that. I'll stick with that value. How do you kind of disseminate your values with anybody who might be helping you or working for you? Or do you make sure the customers know your value? Do you make sure your suppliers? How do you do that process?
Yeah, I mean, I when it comes to staffing, I don't really do anything crazy. I've got a staff one sheet that I send out to everybody who works for me, and it has our mission and our vision and our core values. And a lot of it is just about attitude. We are technically about a part of like the third wave specialty coffee movement of like really trying to approach coffee similar to how people approach wine. So we really want to make amazing coffee, but in our vision statement, we say, our vision is to be a leader in the mid-Michigan coffee scene by practicing specialty without snobbery. And I think that attitude is something that, I try really hard to demonstrate in everything that I do, whether it's on social media or with clients or the guests that we have that come up to our espresso cart. I want to have that attitude of not shaming anyone for where they are at in their coffee journey, but wanting to give them the best that I know how to do. And I find that, so we're a mobile espresso bar. We bring that specialty to people that often wouldn't go into a specialty coffee shop. And that's been one of the greatest joys of what we do, is just meeting people where they're at in their coffee journey and like helping them just to enjoy their coffee experience more. Like anytime I go to someone's people way too often apologize that they have, whether it's a Keurig or like a brew pot or whatever. And I try to really stop that, like, because I don't want anyone to feel embarrassed or ashamed or whatever of their coffee. And maybe there's like a step that they can take to not do it because it's more right than not, but do it just because so they can better enjoy their own coffee experience. So like a great example is Keurig. People will always apologize for a Keurig. And I'm not going to judge people or shame people or anything, but Keurigs tend to be very moldy because people don't clean them. So I don't judge for it, but I do say like, well, there is like, consider cleaning it or doing this. And again, other reason, not because it's right or wrong, but just because I want people to be able to better enjoy their own coffee experience. And I think that in the world of specialty coffee, there have been a lot of rules. There's been a lot of snobbery, and I really try to demonstrate an attitude that is very anti-snobbery and is very, like, let's just have a conversation, like, enjoy my coffee, please. And if you have any questions, I would love to discuss and have a conversation with you. But
I'm always afraid of that snobbery.
Yeah.
Like I made sure I said cherry. I didn't want to I didn't want to start with bean because I knew that was wrong and all of that. But I love that you're doing that because I do sometimes. It's like I'm looking at a menu. I'm going to pick this coffee. They're going to tell me why it's the wrong choice for me. Yeah. And, the 13 reasons. And I end up like, just give me a black coffee and let me get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of that in the specialty coffee world. And we try to actively go against that. So
I think that, that became part of the brand in some places, right? Yeah. We're gonna treat people like shit, and they're gonna love our coffee. Right. And I don't get off on that at all.
Yeah, me neither.
Is there something in particular that made like you're like, this is the way that they're doing it? And I'll give you a hint of who I'm talking about. They rhyme with Starbucks.
Oh, sure.
Like they're best. Well, I don't even know what they're called. The people that serve the coffee. I always get the name. I never say the barista. Yeah. Who even does that? Changes the name. Was there something in particular that made you say, I do not want to be like this?
Sure. Yeah, I think before I had started Runabout, I had worked in coffee and customer service for about 10 years. And all of it was, I was just working that on the side as I was chasing other dreams or I was doing other things. So, when I was doing something, I would always kind of have the side hustle job as a barista or as in coffee somewhere. And so I think, I learned a lot from just working for other people. And so over the years, I was able to kind of organize and kind of slowly build my vision for something else. So even the fact that we're a mobile espresso bar is because I had managed other cafes, I'd worked other cafes, and I didn't love the behind the scenes model of it. I didn't love the business model. But I wanted to make coffee, but I didn't want the overhead, and I didn't want to deal with, full-time or part-time staff. There was like a collection of things that I didn't want to deal with. And so that's where I eventually landed on catering, was basically curating what I love about the coffee world and kind of leaving behind the things that I didn't love about it. And so I think ultimately, like over the course of 10 years just working for other people, I was able to kind of craft my own vision and my own approach. And now I feel like so much of the brand or so much of the business is such a part of me, like so much of myself is in the mission and the vision and the core values and everything. And yeah, it feels, I guess, good to be where I'm at now. So
I want to talk to you about that business model a little bit
yeah.
more, but I want to ask you about the name first.
Mhm.
What's the name all about?
So yeah, Runabout Coffee. It kind of has multiple meanings. It was inspired by, well, first of all, we love Lansing. My wife and I, like, over the course of the last decade, we have been Lansing loyals, like just really believing in the city and really excited about the potential. And we've had a lot of friends move to Grand Rapids. We call it the promised land. Everyone's going to Grand Rapids. And Grand Rapids is great. I love it. But I've always felt like we've wanted to invest in Lansing and in the Lansing community and the potential that's here. So when we're kind of putting this vision together, I really wanted to pay homage to Lansing. I wanted our business to be kind of in Lansing and for Lansing. And so Runabout was Ransom E. Old's first mass-produced vehicle that he invented in Lansing in 1901, and he called it the Runabout. So it's kind of a loose homage to Lansing, but R.E. Olds is obviously an icon in the area, and I love that. I loved that word, Runabout. So that's kind of where the inspiration came from. But then it really is kind of also inspired, or maybe I added this inspiration to it, but kind of that idea of like, if you look up in the dictionary what runabout means, it means like wanderer, or someone who's kind of like aimless, and that just ties in perfectly with my like love for experimentation and my love for, like, not judging people or shaming people for where they're at, and just it really brings in that journey aspect that I really love, and that is intimate in my life, because again, like I spent 10 years just wandering and always thinking I needed to know exactly what I was going to do. And now I look back and I had no idea I would be in coffee right now. But it's like this career I built while I was trying to do all these other things.
I am absolutely falling in love with your brand right now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that because I love the history back. My grandfather worked for Ariel so long ago. We might have a tech problem real quick. We'll see if Doug comes back. He's frozen. Look at that smile, though. Let's see what happens here. What should I talk about? Anybody else out there? I can definitely put that Don put that Doug is the man, which I'm definitely feeling. My premier events. We love working with Runabout Coffee, such a great coffee business in love Lansing. And what'd you think about the Lansing Loyals? I love that phrase. We held the show for a second, Doug.
Oh, good.
Thanks for coming back. I was just I want to show you actually. Don said that you are the man.
Nice.
And then I don't know if this is Ashley actually promoting or not, but such a great coffee business and love Lansing, which made me point out the phrase Lansing Loyals. Which,
yeah.
Nice. Alliteration, in Lansing, you got to love alliteration.
Right. Oh, I was just actually toying with like T-shirt ideas for that Lansing Loyals, because you can be a Lansing local, but it takes a different kind of heart to be a Lansing loyal. So that's
my phrase that I use is Lansing raised me. I've got stickers and T-shirts and stuff for that, but I really love this Lansing Loyals. I don't always love the Love Lansing. No offense, Ashley, if that's who was writing that there, because sometimes it feels forced. Like, love Lansing, or I'm going to shake the shit out of you, or something like that. But that Lansing love, that Lansing loyal. I do love Lansing, by the way. I do love it.
I got you.
I'm going to go back to that for a second. What makes you love Lansing so much? You were born in Detroit. You've lived in Holt, which is sort of Lansing.
Right.
Is there anything in particular that was that this is where we are?
Yeah, the story that comes to mind is in like maybe 2007 to 2010, maybe. In that whole season of my life, I lived like on Francis, on North Francis, so kind of in that east side of the city. And at that time, yeah, at that time, there was a much more defined line between East Lansing and Lansing. Like it wasn't really spoken, but there's this vibe with a lot of college students that you just don't go into Lansing. And so really where the highway was, 127, it felt like students just wouldn't come over to that side. And I was like a college age kid at the time. So I had a lot of friends, and I actually, during this time, I ran an open mic called Michigan Homegrown Music. And it was like this building, I think it's like some sort of grocery store now, but it was an open mic, and I went, and there was like, 4 or 5 just kind of jamming old men, and I showed up and played some tunes, and over the course of the next couple months, I like really promoted it and got a lot of people to come to this open mic, which kind of helped just bring people over to Lansing. And I think maybe that time was when I started really just loving the city, because I saw these pockets and saw these really cool things. Like Magdalena's Tea House was going on at the time, and like the Avenue was gone wired at the time. And, there were these things that I think at that time I just kind of started becoming an advocate for the city. And then later in life, when everyone was, a lot of our friends were moving to Grand Rapids, I think during that time I kind of sunk my heels in it as well. And at one point I had this thought of like consumers versus creators, and how like consumers want to go to Grand Rapids or whatever because everything is already there. But then I like wanted to be a creator. I wanted to stay and like be a part of this community that is building something that one day could be cooler than Grand Rapids or Detroit.
I don't always point out all of the epiphanies I'm having during the show or
Sure.
what my guest is bringing to me, but that right there is super insightful.
Yeah.
They want a pre-packaged, already made, go sit in your gentrified neighborhood. Sorry, I don't know your friends. And everything's right there for me.
Yeah.
Or let's stay here and fight and build this for ourselves.
Yep.
My heart is throbbing.
Yeah.
I love this brand even more.
Yeah, thanks.
What I want to go to the business model for a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Let's say that I'm having an event. I want to have coffee there. How does that work? Do I pay you and then you just serve coffee to all my guests, or do you make money charging them?
Yeah. So
how's it work? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. We're a mobile espresso bar focused on catering. So maybe 90% of what we do, we charge as like a catering package. So our client will purchase us for a number of hours, and basically we will set up during that event and serve free and unlimited drinks to all their guests. So it's basically like an open bar, but it's a coffee cart. So we have a 2-foot by 4-foot cart with commercial grade espresso equipment on it, and we just make all the lattes and cappuccinos and all those things. And then we also have cool opportunities for the clients where we'll like put their logo on the coffee sleeves instead of ours, or for a lot of weddings, we'll design a logo for them. And every client has the opportunity to kind of customize the menu as well. But yeah, the ultimate vision is we do catering primarily, and we work in that way. Occasionally, like this weekend, we'll be at the Meridian Farmers Market and then at the Eastern Ingham Farmers Market. And for those ones, we'll just charge per cup and kind of operate like a typical coffee shop. But we love doing the catering, and that's really the vision of a lot of the business so far.
Well, we do so many events here. I definitely, we're just going to do an event that
Sure.
we invite you or hire you to come do, because I just want to experience it. I really am falling in love with your brand right now. I didn't know I was going to do this.
Yeah.
I don't usually do this on the first date, but
yeah. Nice.
So how let's say I did want to book you for an event. How do I go about doing that?
Yeah. So our website is just runaboutcoffee.com, and at runaboutcoffee.com there's a requested quote form, and I really tried to narrow it down to just, I think it's maybe 6 questions, and it just kind of gives us a snapshot of what people are considering and how they would want us to be involved, and from there. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Did I do that right?
Yeah, that looks great. That's it.
Okay.
So yeah, that's usually the easiest way for people to is just fill out that requested quote form. Obviously, I'll always welcome phone calls or texts or Instagram messages, but most of the time I'll probably point you to that website anyway.
I'll probably start at the website, because when people call me all day long about things that I've already said online or whatever, it's like, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So during COVID though, this must have hurt a bit.
Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't feel good, but it wasn't too bad on us. Fortunately, because we don't have a brick and mortar, and because we don't, we have people who work for us, but we call them side hustlers. So we don't offer any part-time or full-time jobs. It's mostly people who are maybe in between jobs and just need some extra money, or some people who are engaged and saving up money for a wedding will work for us. So we're kind of just extra money for people. So during COVID, we didn't really have a team to really worry about. We didn't have a lot of overhead. And so it didn't, COVID wasn't good or helpful for us, but we, relatively speaking, were okay to just kind of sit. And, I had many moments of questioning everything that I've ever done with Runabout. And I just kind of kept coming back to that, vision and mission and core values. And those really, I think, helped us throughout the pandemic. It was just remembering who we are and why we are, and just kind of staying the course. So we had usually winter is pretty busy with corporate holiday parties. We do a lot of those. But this past winter, we just hung out a lot. We didn't do much, which is fine. My wife was pregnant, and she had the baby. As soon as she had the baby, we got busy again. So that was perfect.
I've got a few events in mind, but I'm definitely going for this. And so the other thing, you bring your cart, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So do you fit everywhere?
Yeah. We built the carts intentionally to fit through a standard door. I've had some tight fits, but there's never been a door that we can't get through. Stairs are kind of not our friend, but usually we can make it up a couple steps, but usually we just need an elevator. But for the most part, we are adaptable. Sorry, go ahead.
I got a ramp, so we can.
Oh, sure. Deal.
I think 2x4, you could definitely. I see this big cart I have right there.
Oh yeah.
If
you can fit that
thing. That thing, no, we couldn't fit it in. We had to carry it up the steps because it wouldn't make the corner of the ramp. And that it's got a fridge unit in it, so it's heavy. It's heavy. Let's just say it that way. Yeah. All right, I got a plan. It's starting to come together.
I'm ready.
What are there any events? Well, you already said the farmers market, so Meridian, and I actually missed the other one.
It's the Eastern Ingham Farmers Market in Williamston. Yeah. And then we're working on maybe getting into a couple other markets. But one thing we've started doing the last, this will be our third one, August 21st, we do a coffee tasting and palate development workshop. And it really, like, I try to gear it towards people who are just there for like a date night, or for people who actually want to kind of develop their palates. Either way, it's been a pretty fun event with just tasting coffees and tasting other foods and just talking coffee. So that's on August 21st.
Is palate spelt like palate?
It's Palate.
I'm just going with whatever you say.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that
looked right to me. But August 21st, coffee tasting and palate development. Where at?
Yeah. It is. Sorry, I was looking up how to spell palate, but
we already spelled it.
Yeah,
we're going with that.
It is at Craft and Mason. So the roasters that we work with, they have a beautiful roasting space in the Potter's Mill building. Which, if people aren't familiar with Potter's Mill, that's definitely a hidden gem in our city. But so we set up in their roasting space, so actually right next to their big roaster. And yeah, it really, like I said, I try to make it so that it can appeal to anyone, whether people are new to coffee or coffee pros. It really is like a session of experimentation and just enjoying company and coffee.
Can people find out about that on your website?
Yeah, so that we actually do is a ticketed event, and so we have tickets at runaboutcoffee.com/shop, which is just our online store.
All right.
And then there's also a Facebook group or Facebook page floating around somewhere in the Facebook world.
Yeah. All right. We'll find that and share it too.
Yeah.
Potter's Mill, though. Freaking awesome place, man.
Yeah.
John Sears, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who passed away earlier this year, I think. Yeah. That's sad. Because he was, I mean, that place is awesome. A lot of people don't know about it, and it is such an amazing place. They don't even know where it is.
Right.
Like, it's super hard, not super hard to find, but you don't go down there. You don't drive past Border Water and Light and all these places that look like you're going to get in trouble for being there.
Yeah. It's definitely unexpected, but I mean, if any building is like a representation of the potential in Lansing, it's Potter's Mill. Just because, it's this old building that John just made beautiful. It's an incredible space. Yeah.
I was so jealous the first time I walked through there. I was like, I want something like this. This is not fair. Why do you get this? I want this.
Yeah.
So, shout out to John. He,
Mm-hmm.
You said you had a vision, you have values. What's your mission?
Our mission is pretty simple. It's just meet people where they're at. I love it because that's what we do with our coffee shop. We're the coffee shop that comes to you. We meet people where they're at, but a lot of, it kind of defines a lot of our attitude as well, of just meeting every individual kind of where they're at, whether it's in coffee or in life or anything, just having that attitude and that open heart, I guess, for people and where they are in life.
I'll come back to this in a second. What's something you do every damn day to push that forward?
Yeah, it's a great question. Mostly because right now, every damn day, we've got 3 kids under 5. So,
I take care of my kids. I thought you were earlier.
Yeah, So every damn day, I'm trying to keep them alive. But for a long time, I really was reliant on my morning routine, like just waking up early, making coffee and reading or writing. And I've really fallen out of that, but it's one of those things that every damn day I wish I had the motivation to get back into it. But yeah, so, I really feel like routine is just kind of out the window right now. But, I think especially after 2020, like something I've been thinking about lately is just my sphere of influence. Like there's so much going on in the world. There's so much unrest. And I think we tend to believe that more change can happen online than it actually can, like whether it's Facebook or Instagram, social media. It feels like that influence can be made there. But I think through 2020, one of my biggest lessons was just focusing on my sphere of influence of those people immediately in my life, whether it's my family or my friends or just the people that I'm interacting with on a personal level. And so, I think that is something that I've learned over the last year or so and have been trying to apply, is maybe being, more focus on personal relationships and just that sphere of influence, which ultimately I think, that wherever people are, like more can happen through a relationship than like, I don't know, posting the right thing on Facebook,
TikTok, man, that's where it's at.
Well, yeah, yeah, that's the thing now, which I haven't gotten into TikTok, but
I'm just slowly, not quite slowly, but just getting into it. I've got a video that's actually climbing quite fast right now that I'm happy about. But you're absolutely right. Nobody gives a shit. They're going to scroll by it. And the real influence is standing out on that porch and talking to somebody that needs something now.
Yep.
So let me throw a couple comments up if you don't mind.
Sure,
We'll start. Where'd she go? We'll start with Kaylee.
Nice.
Loves Doug, and she's laughing at me for being on TikTok.
Yeah.
And then a question. Oh, and I'm sorry. Apple Blossom Kombucha. She taught me how to say it.
Yeah.
And on where Grand River starts to split from Grand River. I don't know. Saginaw.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. It's all.
In that Frandor chaos.
Yes. Yeah. She's part of the Frandor chaos. So check out the.
And we actually, quick plug, we are partnered with Kaylee so that if people want to add kombucha to their menu with us, that we get it from her because it's the best booch in town. So
even better.
Yeah.
And old friend, not old. He's not old. He's sort of old actually. But David Lopez is asking, are you a caterer for private homes for a coffee tasting event? Would you do that, or is it always business?
Yeah, I was actually just asked that yesterday. Someone said, I've got 10 people interested in doing your coffee tasting. And I basically told her that, I mean, if she wants to do it at her place or whatever, I'm always down to talk with people. I'm always down to explore new ways of doing things. And me and our brand and our coffee is very adaptable. So yeah, that's definitely something I would be down to do.
Here's what's on my mind. I'm right across from Sparrow, the Fledge is, right? And all these medical professionals take walks either in the morning or at lunchtime, but somewhere in there. And I might want to just buy them all a cup of coffee one day.
Yeah.
And I want to meter it so that you don't come out on the bad end, because that would suck.
Sure.
But is that something you'd be interested in maybe doing?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm like always down to talk about it. Like we try to adapt ourselves to people's vision, and like if we can help you celebrate or as we like to say, cafebrate, which is caffeinate and celebrate combined. If we can help you like cafebrate that community, that is what we love to do. So we will do our best to partner with you in it, and yeah, help in that.
I'm glad you said that, because the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is every time you start to say, well, I wake up in the morning and have that fresh brewed coffee,
Yeah.
that South Park episode where do you ever watch South Park?
I've watched some, but probably not enough to know what you're talking about.
The kid's named Tweak or something like that, and his parents are they own a coffee shop, and some big corporate companies trying to move in, and he's always doing this commercial about how great his coffee is.
Nice. I'll have to try to find that.
That's the snob thing that I think I'd like to stay away from. I'm scared of snobbiness across the board, and I'll tell you a different story when we get to a different part of this. I daisy chain these shows together. And yesterday on the show, I had a gentleman, Jeff Lazarus, and he also brought, do you know who John Smoltz is, the baseball player?
No, I
from
don't.
Waverly? Oh. Hall of Fame baseball player, but he brought his father because they're going to build this strikeout baseball, or they're trying to, over by the Beacon soccer field.
Cool, yeah.
And his question for you is, what is your favorite MLB stadium?
Yeah. I'm not familiar with many, so I gotta say the Tigers. Just try to keep it home based, you know.
See, I was thinking that same thing. No one's gonna know an answer for this. Nobody, travels around and all of that. But to be fair to him, we asked him who his favorite skateboarder was.
Yeah.
Who do you think he said?
I would have said Tony Hawk, because that's the only one I know. So.
So exactly same thing. So, but he is kind of a baseball snob.
Yeah.
No, he's a good guy. I don't mean it that way. But he did say everyone's just going to say Tiger Stadium, but Tiger Stadium is the right answer.
Yeah, right. I'm glad I got it right. Yeah.
You got it right.
Yeah.
You got it right. Do you ever do any like huge, one of the things with your business model, have you done a huge event and it's like, oh shit, I just served a lot more coffee than I thought I was going to, and I just lost my money?
Sure. We have not gotten to that point yet. I mean, we've done some big events. I think our biggest, there were 1,000 people in 3 hours. And we just had multiple coffee stations. I think I had 8 people working with me. But for the most part, some events people will get less than we expected, and some events they'll get more than we expected, and it kind of all evens out. There's, we did a gender reveal party on New Year's Eve one year. And like at midnight, they announced if it was a boy or a girl. So we were serving coffee there, and there was a woman who was probably like 80s, maybe even 90s, and she got 5 lattes from me. And I'm not in the business of cutting people off, but I was worried about her heart, but she just kept coming up. But yeah, so that's kind of, I guess, the risk that we take when we say free and unlimited drinks. And you have some people who will just get one, and you get other people who come back more and more. I love when people come back, because it tells me that they enjoyed their drinks, and it also makes the client feel good about it. So
I am completely addicted to caffeine. I don't know how I would ever shake it. I've never even thought about trying.
Yeah. It's a necessity for me.
So tomorrow on the show, I have Raymond Brunson, and he's a coach. We're just going to say that. He works with kids a lot. What question would you like me to ask him on your behalf?
Yeah, I mean, I think just to keep it on theme, and because everyone has an answer, even if they don't drink coffee, they'll say something. But I think the question would be, how do you take your coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you take your coffee?
How do I take my coffee? A lot of ways. A lot of ways. I usually in the morning I'm black coffee somehow, but I have quite a bit at home, so I'll kind of go through phases. Right now I'm doing the Chemex a lot. I'll just make a coffee via Chemex. Right now I'm working through a Craft Mason Ethiopian bean that I actually had. It was roasted June 7th, and so it's like older than I normally make, just because I am buying fresh coffee every week. But it actually works out. It was like a month old, and I started working it, and I almost liked it better than I did a week from roasting date. So it's very good. I'd recommend that. But yeah, lately I've been doing the Chemex in the morning, and then I love a Cortado. That's my favorite drink to get at shops. It's a 4-ounce drink, just half espresso, half steamed milk. It's very hard to get a really good one, and I like to think I make a really good one. But that's probably my favorite drink.
See, I like I always drink black coffee every day, but every once in a while I'll get something with milk in it or caramel or any to sweeten it up. I got addicted to coffee when I was a little kid, but it was like 10 scoops of sugar and half cream and all of that, which I still enjoy, but I forget that I enjoy it and never do it.
Yeah.
But then if someone will bring me, here's some cream and sugar in your coffee, and I'm like, all right. Yeah. And it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I have another problem. I smoke too.
Sure.
So I can't quite taste my coffee. And sometimes I can. And that takes me back to a place.
Sure.
Now I sound like the South Park guy. So Ethiopia, though, you said that. Fair trade. How do you deal with that? I bet it's important to you.
Yeah. I think one of our core values is each other, and not just people. Every person we interact with. So, whether it's the people we're actually serving coffee or the farmers who are harvesting the beans and doing all that, we want to consider everyone involved in the process. So definitely, Craft and Mason, they do a really great job at sourcing their beans, from fair trade farms, from farmers who are being fairly compensated. So, a lot of it is we kind of rely on them because we're not actually sourcing the beans from the farmers. We're sourcing it from Craft and Mason. But that's one reason we love Craft and Mason, is because that is one of their values and something that they're committed to. So fortunately, we have a good relationship with them, and they have a good relationship with the farmers. And it's a game of always trying to cut out the middlemen. And they have a Silhouette coffee right now that they are actually friends with the farmer, and so that's kind of the ideal. And I know every roaster is kind of trying to make that. I would love to start traveling the world again and getting to know the farmers and, just kind of investing in that world of coffee. Because for a long time, coffee farmers were not being paid well. And in a lot of areas still, like, there's a lot of unfairness in it. And it's just more and more middlemen, more and more like coffee traders who are just kind of taking the profits away from them, essentially. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy you're teamed with a good partner. I'm happy you think about that. Dawn here she said more than just coffee, and I only saw that out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, hell yeah, this guy's social mission. Yes, I love this. But she's also talking about the hibiscus soda.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Yeah, so we have some specialty sodas that we make that we'll often pair with our espresso bar for kind of the people who don't like coffee. But everything we make, we try to keep it local, Michigan or Lansing, and we try to make as much on our own as we can. So a couple years ago, my wife had the idea of doing a hibiscus latte, and it didn't really work out. But then I was like, let's put it in soda, and then ever since then, we've had the hibiscus soda. So it comes out. It's a very like pretty deep red color. It's very refreshing, pretty tart. And then we also have a Cascara soda, which is actually what I'm drinking now. It's pretty watered down right now. But that's our other soda that we pair with the hibiscus. So we try, our focus is coffee. We love coffee. We're an espresso bar, but a lot of times people will say, well, I don't drink coffee. And we still have things for non-coffee drinkers too, like the sodas. And Dawn is if we're ever going to have a billboard with hibiscus soda being featured, it will be Dawn holding it in the billboard. So she's
if I ever have a billboard to get people to sign up for Every Damn Day, it'll be Dawn on the billboard. Yeah. Get on the show.
Yeah, she's gonna be on a lot of billboards.
Dawn's she's the epitome of maybe Lansing loyal.
Yeah.
She promotes us all.
Yeah. No, we love Ellie's Place. We just wrapped up the third year in a row working Ellie's Race. And so through that, Dawn has become, a friend and a client. And she's incredible. Ellie's Place is incredible. I even, talking with them and how they love the city in their unique way and how they're teaching the city how to grieve, which grieving comes in a lot of degrees, but everyone grieves in some way, and I think we all need to be better at grieving. So anyway, I love Ellie's Place. I love Dawn. They're such an inspiring organization. So
I just realized the irony of my morning because I had the Ellie's Race kind of bright neon yellow t-shirt on this morning, then was trying to open my sliding glass door and spilled my coffee on that shirt. So I changed shirts today, which just seems like
it all comes irony together. Yeah. And then you hang out with CISO, and then I shout out to CISO.
See, this show was absolutely meant to happen.
Yes, yeah.
So and that it gets stressful when my guests cancel like that. But I have no idea if something happened, if something's wrong. I always think, this is my goal. You should be in on this. And people aren't always in on your goals, right? Mm-hmm. It's more important to me than it is to others sometimes. Yeah. So, but anyways, let's conclude that. We love you, Dawn, right? And we love Ellie's Place because you're exactly right. So much important work there.
Yeah, for sure.
So leads us right into the next question, because this show's all about serendipity. Happiness, sadness, joy, hope, and or love. Which words would you like to talk about, or word?
Yeah. I mean, the one that sticks out to me is joy. Just kind of going back to our core value of experimentation. Like I feel like that is something I've learned. I often say I guess I can't remember what it is, but joy is like found in the art of experimentation, of letting go of, that felt need to arrive or to have the product, and just kind of enjoying the process and enjoying the ability to kind of always learn and always grow and always be challenged. And I think for me, like, if it weren't for experimentation, I don't think I would enjoy coffee, because some days there's this term called chasing the grind, where you're dialing in the espresso and you have to have the grinder set to a certain thing, and depending on how the coffee pours out, you like make your adjustments. And every barista, I'm sure, has gone through the moment where you're chasing the grind and you're just trying to get that perfect thing, and you do it so much that you just put everything out of whack, and then you drive yourself crazy and you're frustrated. And and it's those moments where I always have to learn to let go a little bit, and it's like the art of experimentation, and we're figuring it out. Some days it's easier than others, but we're all kind of plinkoing through life, and yeah,
We're doing what?
plinkoing.
Plinkoing.
Yeah, plinko. I'm sure it's not a verb, but it makes sense.
You just made it a verb, so it's a verb now.
Yeah, but yeah. So joy, I think, is something important to me because I think it's so closely tied with just that willingness to let go and just kind of enjoy the art of experimentation in coffee and in life. So
nice.
Yeah.
I have a different word for experimentation sometimes. Do you have a different word for it?
Yeah, I know I've had different words, but I don't know. What do you have in mind?
I felt like I was setting you up for something. I want to go back and say what I really meant to say.
Yeah.
Play and joy. Yeah. That's my childhood. I got to play and I was filled with joy when I did. Experiment and joy. Yeah. You might have given me 2 epiphanies here. Yeah. But man, I love your vibe. I love your mission. I love your vision. I love your phrases. Mm-hmm. Really in love with your brand right now. I'll tell you that for sure.
Thanks.
Radical play. Nate Jemison coming in and helping us out here.
Nice. Dig it.
Thank you so very much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there anything we forgot to talk about that you might want to slip in there real quick?
I don't think so. I mean, other than, I would love to make people coffee if they come to either of the markets this weekend or to the coffee tasting. I'd love to meet people and make them coffee. But other than that, I know we touched on that, and I don't know, it was a great conversation. I enjoyed talking to you. I'm glad this worked out.
I enjoyed talking to you too. It's well, let's say that date one more time for the coffee. Oh, the 21st.
Yeah,
August 21st.
Yeah, it's a Saturday, 10 to noon. So it's a good, bring your date there, or just come by yourself, or anyone. It's a fun time. So
great date breakfast thing, right?
Yeah.
Learn how to be a coffee snob.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I've had a wine tasting kind of training a little bit. I've never quite. I don't even know what to try to find in coffee.
Yeah.
Like, what am I looking for?
Yeah, that's like a part of the fun of it is just knowing how, and like becoming more familiar with how we taste and what we're looking for in coffee. Because one of my favorite facts is wine has about 80 natural tasting notes to it, or profiles, and then coffee has over 200. So there's a lot to be found in coffee. And unfortunately, like I shouldn't say unfortunately, I'm just saying, I think now people are starting to approach coffee like they do wine, which is just fun. Like it's not for the sake of being more right or more wrong. It's just an experience, and kind of just, trying to better enjoy coffee.
So next time I go in Blue Owl, I'm just going to take a sip and then just spit it on the floor like you see these wine tasters do, right?
Yeah. That
sounded super horrible. I love you, Blue Owl. I didn't mean to say it like that. No, I just meant whatever coffee shop. I'm going to walk in and be a coffee snob and swish it around a little bit, smell it, take a taste, and spit it on the floor.
Yeah, maybe scowl at some people too.
Oh, yeah.
Give some dirty looks. Yeah,
you're drinking this?
Yeah.
Hell.
You are ready to be a barista. Good.
And I'm going to apologize 5 more times to Blue Owl because I did not mean to drag you into that. But
they're great.
Or if you're getting all sensitive about it, then maybe I did mean. I'm sitting here in an argument with Blue Owl Coffee. They're not even.
Yeah. No, Blue Owl is great. They're great people.
Yeah. What would you like to take us out with?
Oh, good question.
Oh wait, I gotta interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
Man invented wine. God created coffee. There's a quote for you.
Deep. You know what? That's a great note to take us out on. I don't know. The only thing I'll take you out on this. Behind me is Paul Simon's Graceland, one of my favorite albums of all time. So people's homework is to go listen to Graceland all the way through.
You're not gonna just hum a few bars for us?
No.
All right. Because sometimes we perform when they're taking us out.
Well, I thought about it. I do have my guitar hanging up right there, but I'm not.
We can take. Look at it.
There it is.
I see it.
There it is.
You do play the guitar?
I do, yeah. In my years of wandering, I was actually a local folk singer-songwriter. So did that for a good number of years. We were doing quite a bit and just haven't done it as much lately. But I keep it out so that I'll pluck around on it every once in a while.
Is that one of the menu items we can check off?
Yeah.
Folk singer to come with the
Singing
coffee
barista.
bar?
Yeah.
All right, I'm checking that box.
Yeah, so I'll just have my guitar on me, make some lattes. It's quite the sight to see. Yeah. Maybe have like a big bass drum on my back or something. I don't know.
This is getting expensive. I don't know. Thank you so very much for coming and sharing your story and telling us. I mean, I can't get over your brand and your whole messaging. I really am giddy right now, which is weird to me, but I appreciate you a lot. And
thanks, Jerry.
Lansing Loyals.
Yes, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Well,
all right, everyone.
Thanks again.
Of course, you're welcome. Thank you, everyone. I will see you tomorrow at 2 for another episode of Every Damn Day. I've got Raymond Brunson coming on to talk about coaching. And we will see you later. If you don't mind, Doug, just stick with me